Hello everyone. Before we go into the chapter, I would like to say sorry because I'm not able to release the videos at a frequent rate due to a very busy schedule I'm in, and we will move on into the chapter. So today we are going to look at data representation, chapter 2, and the second part. The topic we are going to look at is encoding schemes. It is ISCII and Unicode. Now we will have a look at the ISCI code. The full form of ISCI is Indian Standard Code for Information Interchange. Also, it can be said as Indian Scripts Code for Information Interchange, and this was done to facilitate the use of Indian languages on computers. And this came out in the year 1991 and done by the Bureau of Indian Standards. And we already saw that ASCII is a 7-bit code, extended ASCII is 8-bit code, and ISCI is also an 8-bit code, and it's capable of coding 256 characters. So with this ISCI code, it retains all the ASCII characters, and also there is space for Indian scripts also. And this is used in all the GIST products, that is Graphical Intelligence Scripts technology, and it is also used in the operating system of PC-DOS of IBM's and ILK of Apple. And this is mandatory for all the government projects like the Election Commission and the Land Records Project, etc. And this code applies for the scripts Devanagari, Gurmukhi, Gujarati, Oriya, Bengali, Assamese, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam and Tamil. And it is this single coding can be applied for all of them by providing transliteration. And transliteration means it's a method of mapping from one system to another based on phonetic similarity. Now let us look at the ISCI Devanagari code. You can see that both ASCII as well as the Devanagari scripts are supported. Now we will look at the next encoding scheme, which is the Unicode. And why did Unicode come? It is to represent all the known languages characters through one encoding system. And what is Unicode is, we will have a look at it. It is an universal character set. And the purpose of this universal character set is that it is there to support the character set of majority of known languages for use on computers, and it is the superset of other encoded character sets. So now we need to understand what is the purpose of Unicode, like why is it popular now, or is it widely used. So for that we need to know what happened before the existence of Unicode. So before that, there were hundreds of different encoding systems in use. So in Europe, there are 24 languages which are accepted as official languages by the European Union. I can list down a few, like there is English, French, Spanish, German, Portuguese, etc. And to cover these different languages, different encoding systems were used. And even for the language English, no single encoding system was sufficient. Next problem was that the encoding systems, the different encoding systems, they had conflicts with one another. For example, same number was used for different characters, or different numbers were used for the same characters. So for example, here if you look at the section of the Russian code and the European code table, we can see that the character over here, at this location, is different. And the next disadvantage is that if there are different encoding systems, then the servers has to support the different encodings. And when there is data is passed between the different encoding systems or platforms, the data might get corrupted. Before we move into further topics, we need to understand the encoding terminologies, and first we will look at encoding scheme. This is the conversion of information character by character in a mission intelligible code. So we know that the computer can understand only in binary form. So the character which is entered by us will be converted to a binary form. That is done in a certain way defined by the encoding schemes. And we also know that there are many encoding schemes present, like the ASCII, ISCII, Unicode, etc. Next, we will look at the code space, and this is nothing but the codes which represents the characters. And in ASCII, we know that it has 2 to the power, it supports 2 to the power 7 different characters, and so the code space is from 0 till 127. And now let us look at the code point. The code point is nothing but the code from the code space, and this is the one which represents a single character from the character set. For example, the hexadecimal 41, it represents the character uppercase A. And from this figure, we can see that the code point for A is hexadecimal 41. We already saw that ASCII has 128 code points and Unicode has 1,112,064 code points, and we can clearly see that this is why it is able to support multiple languages. Next, we will look at the code unit. It is the unit of storage, basically tells the number of bits used. It represents one encoded code point. For example, we can say that an ASCII, it's a 7-bit code and all the 7 bits are used for representation of the characters. But for UTF-8, it uses 8 bits to represent the character, but sometimes it can use more number of bits to represent a certain set of characters. So UTF-8 is a variable length scheme. So some characters are 8 bits, some characters are 16 or 24 bits. That we will understand in the next set of videos. With this, the topics for this video is done, and I want to convey the message once again. Like, I'm running on a very tight schedule, but I'll try to do my best to give you more videos on more topics. And if you like these videos, please subscribe. Thank you.